born from winter's breath and the silence of the snowfall. Let me tell you about Yuki-onna, Japan's chilling spirit of the snow. Yuki-onna appears in the snowy mountains and frigid forests of Japan. In Japanese lore, Yuki-onna is a tall, graceful, and eerily beautiful woman. She has long, flowing black hair, skin white as snow, chilling blue lips, cold, empty, and hypnotic eyes, and floating in the snow in a white kimono, sometimes appearing nude like in older legends. And she leaves no footprints as she floats above the snow. Her origins across Japan vary, possibly the spirit of a woman who died in the snowstorm, or an ancient snow spirit born from winter itself. In some tales, having lost her own child. In other tales, becoming a wandering spirit in the mountains. She often appears to travelers wandering in the blizzards, and she blows cold breath, freezing them instantly. She can lead people off path deeper into the snow. She may knock on houses asking to come inside, and sometimes she even steals life energy through a kiss. In some tales, she falls in love with a human and tries to live a normal life. That is, until her supernatural nature is revealed. As the woman of the snow in Japan, she can control ice and snow, freeze people with her breath, appear and vanish at will, and hover or glide without touching the ground. Depending on the legend, she can be weak to fire or warmth. The sunrise can cause her to vanish, and if she makes an oath, breaking it can destroy her. In modern media, she makes an iconic appearance in the 1964 horror fantasy film Kwaidan. She has a boss fight in the game Neo, she appears in Inuyasha, she's in Kyoko Suiri, as well as countless other anime. This chilling woman is truly one to die for. If you want to hear about more ice and snow spirits, follow for more. I woke up from a nightmare this morning. Introducing the monolith, the creature made from my own subconscious. In the nightmare I had, the monolith takes appearance of a normal human. What makes monoliths distinct is the hole they have in their abdomen or their chest. They also have eerily wide smiles. On top of that, they wear these terrifying smiling masks. The monolith is an entity who knocks on people's doors. When the person opens the door, they will see the monoliths with their terrifying smiling mask and the hole in their stomach. Or hole in their chest for that matter. Wherever the monolith's hole is centered on the body, the fact still remains. There is a hole inside of them. After the door is opened, the monolith will ask a question. The question is, what's your sin? If the person fails to answer or lie about what their sin is, the monolith will punch them in the face. If the person closes the door before they answer, the monolith will start banging on the door, and the monolith will keep asking you, what is your sin, until you answer the question, revealing your sin. In the nightmare that I had, it started with me making 2 new gal pals. They revealed themselves to be quite unpleasant. In my nightmare, my father and my sister told me they could see the truth. They knew the gal pals that I made friends with were not good people. I asked them how did they know the girls were unpleasant. It was at that moment in my nightmare where they told me that they themselves are monoliths. From what my father and my sister told me in my nightmare, they used to be active monoliths. Monoliths can see the truth, that they can see the holes in people's hearts. They were not active monoliths anymore though. Still, monoliths remain truth seekers and interrogators. In my nightmare, my father and my sister went into further detail about the nature of monoliths. If a monolith is revealed to be a monolith via a person putting their hand through the monolith's hole in their body, then the monolith will kill themselves on the spot. In my nightmare, I was in a living room in an apartment with a bunch of my family members and friends. Eventually, monoliths surrounded the outskirts of all the doors to the apartment. They wanted to interrogate us, wanting to seek the truth. One of my peers got subsequently punched in the face after failing to answer the question, "What is your sin?" to the monolith. Eventually, we locked all the doors so no monoliths would come in. One of the people who lived in the apartment opened the door to their bedroom. I quickly stopped them from closing their door. I wanted their bedroom door to be open so that there would be more space in the apartment. Then it would be easier to get comfortable. More space meant less panic. Suddenly, one of my family's friends came up to me, telling me, "That's good. Now tell me." And then she smiled at me and asked me, "Now what is your sin?" revealing to be a monolith herself. High on the frozen Himalayas lives one of the most iconic cryptids on Earth, the Yeti. The Yeti is a massive humanoid, standing at 7 to 10 feet tall, covered in white or gray fur blending in the snow, having broad shoulders and long and powerful arms and legs perfect for climbing, along with talons and an ape-like face with fangs and tusks. The Yeti is located in the snow-covered peaks of the Himalayas, ranging across Nepal, Tibet, Bhutan, and India. The Yeti is said to roam glaciers, deep valleys, and remote mountain passes where humans rarely survive. In Tibetan Buddhism, the Yeti is sometimes seen as a mountain guardian spirit. In Himalayan folklore, it's said to predate humans, watching over sacred lands. Some tales claim it's the wild ancestor of humanity, a being that never came down from the mountains. And others say it's a snow demon left behind from the ancient battles between the gods. They live to protect Himalayan mountain regions, warning and scaring travelers who trespass sacred areas, said to occasionally help wanderers in more peaceful legends, while in other more darker ones they may attack, potentially dragging victims into snow caves. With their large stature and fur, they have extreme cold resistance, having superhuman strength, able to overturn boulders and knock down trees, said to have silent movement across the snow. So all you'll have to rely on to see if they're close is their large footprints in the snow. Their territorial roars are said to cause avalanches, and even have night vision for the long Himalayan winters. As for their weaknesses, it's implied that fire scares and harms them, trying to stay away from warm climates and heat in general, and they avoid large groups of humans. In modern media, they are portrayed in the upcoming 2026 film The Yeti, Smallfoot, Abominable, Skyrim, Far Cry 4, Abominable from Monster High, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, and Tomb Raider. Truly a frozen giant of myth and mystery. Do you think the Yeti may be real? If you want to learn about more beasts and cryptids, follow for more. Many countries have Christmas cheer, but Iceland, they have Christmas fear. Introducing Grýla and Jólakötturinn. These two entities are literally giant hunters. The two are located high in the cold volcanic mountains of Iceland. Grýla is a giantess ogre troll witch, with wrinkled gray skin, long tangled hair. Her nose is said to look like a crooked icicle. She wears rags stitched together from old wool, and she carries around a giant sack to carry around children. Jólakötturinn, if I'm pronouncing it right, on the other hand, is a giant cat. Not as giant as Grýla, but still dangerous. Its name, Jólakötturinn, means the Yule cat, or the Christmas cat. Jólakötturinn is a massive black cat, said to be as big as a house, with glowing yellow eyes, fur that stands like spikes, and able to move completely silent in the snow. In old Icelandic texts, as early as the 13th century, she's a wandering winter witch who captures and punishes children. Over time, she became the mother of the 13 Yule lads, the wife of the useless troll Lepalode, and the master of the terrifying Yule cat Jólakötturinn. Jólakötturinn used to serve as a farming warning. Workers needed to finish the autumn wool before winter, or they wouldn't get new clothes for Christmas. Their legends merge, and they became an unstoppable pair. While Grýla hunts the countryside every Christmas, searching for misbehaving children to stuff into her bag to turn them into stew, Jólakötturinn, the Yule cat, stalks and hunts children and adults, hunting those who didn't receive new clothing, symbolic of laziness and winter survival. In modern media, they are depicted in postcards, children's books. Grýla even appears as a giantess boss in God of War Ragnarok. She's even featured in the Netflix series The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Be good this Christmas, and maybe buy yourself and your loved ones a sweater. It may save your lives. If you want to learn about more giants and witches and Christmas entities, follow for more. Santa's not the only one who comes every December. There's also Krampus. Gruß vom Krampus, as he says. Originating from Alpine folklore from Central Europe, Krampus comes every December 5th. December 5th being Krampusnacht, the night of Krampus. Krampus is a tall, towering demon, covered in matted dark fur with curved horns, a long, lolling tongue, goat legs, carrying a bird bundle to swat naughty children, as well as a large basket or sack to carry children, to take them away. Krampus lives to punish, scare, threaten, and kidnap misbehaving children, taking the worst ones away, and depending on the legend, dragging them to the forest or hell. He was possibly inspired by pre-Christian Alpine and pagan folklore, involving satyrs, the Perchten or Perchten, and Frau Perchta, the Alpine winter goddess. When Christianity spread, the church paired him with St. Nicholas to teach morality. In modern media, his most famous depiction is in the 2015 horror film Krampus. There's also films like A Christmas Horror Story, Krampus the Reckoning. He makes an appearance in American Dad, Venture Bros, Grimm. He even made it into video games like Dead by Daylight, Binding of Isaac, and Terraria. He's even in books like Krampus the Yule Lord. This devilish holiday enforcer is here to remind us that not everyone deserves presents. He is not here to give, he's here to take. If you want to learn about more Christmas monsters, follow for more. Not all villains are cruel, some are just cold. Introducing the Snow Queen. The Snow Queen originates from the 1844 fairy tale of Hans Christian Andersen, set across frozen kingdoms, icy palaces, and snow-covered worlds, where warmth, both physical and emotional, is rare. The Snow Queen is a beautiful, pale, regal woman, with ice blue eyes that chill everything around her. The Snow Queen wasn't born evil. She rules over ice and snow, with her power lying in emotional detachment. In the story, she takes a boy named Kay. This is after shards of a cursed mirror get lodged in his heart and eye, freezing his emotions and distorting his perception. She doesn't hunt, chase, or harm people. She draws people in, offering clarity, stillness, and escape from pain, and then leaves them frozen in place. As the Snow Queen, she not only controls ice and snow, she can control storms and freeze hearts and memories, and she uses psychological influence rather than brute force. Her greatest power isn't magic, it's absence. However, she's weak to genuine warmth, involving love, persistence, and emotional resilience. In modern media, she is featured in the show Once Upon a Time, the Russian animated adaptation of The Snow Queen of 1957, and the Snow Queen is the indirect inspiration for Elsa from Frozen. The Snow Queen doesn't hurt you on purpose, she just leaves you wondering if the cold was your fault. If you want to hear about more frozen mistresses, follow for more. During the 12 Nights of Winter, she comes to judge the living. Meet Frau Perchta, the winter witch who punishes the lazy and rewards the good. This winter witch originates from Alpine regions, from Austria, Bavaria, Switzerland, and Germany. Frau Perchta has two forms, one being a beautiful woman in white, radiant and maternal, as well as a hideous crone, with a hooked nose, an animal foot, and long tangled hair. In pre-Christian Germanic and Alpine folklore, she was once likely a goddess, a pagan goddess. She was tied to winter, fate, household order, and women's labor. When Christianity spread, she was demonized into a terrifying figure, roaming the 12 nights of Christmas, entering homes unseen, inspecting behavior, especially when people get their spinning work done, and whether children and adults behave properly. A methodical and moralistic figure, she rewards diligence, cleanliness, and respect for tradition, while punishing laziness, disobedience, gluttony, and disrespect to women's labor. A powerful winter witch/goddess, she is quite capable of shapeshifting and turning herself invisible, winter manipulation, supernatural strength, able to control fate and fortune and cast curses on people, as well as having command over spirits and seasonal forces. Her most brutal punishments involve slitting open the bellies of the lazy, stuffing them with straw, pebbles, and garbage, and sewing them back up. She's brutal, and yes, she thinks it's deserved. In pop culture, she appears in the Brothers Grimm stories, the 2017 film Mother Krampus, and she celebrated on Perchtenlauf, a pagan festival tradition where people wear terrifying masks as Perchten. Just remember, during the 12 nights of Christmas, Frau Perchta will be watching you. If you want to learn about more terrifying witches, follow for more. Let's talk about the frosty trickster of winter himself, Jack Frost. Jack Frost appears across English, Norse, and Germanic winter folklore, living as a personification of ice, cold, and winter mischief. And depending on the version, he's either a young pale boy with frost-white hair, a mischievous elf-like figure, a spirit of winter with glowing blue eyes, or a gaunt icy man with frozen breath. He's usually invisible unless he wants to be seen, and his very touch leaves frost patterns on the windows. He has no set backstory, though he is the evolved version of older European winter spirits. Over centuries, he went from a dangerous winter force to a playful trickster to the friendly character we see today. He lives as a very carefree spirit, leaving frost on the windows, ice on the roads, creating cold winter winds and snowflakes. Sometimes he's helpful, sometimes he's annoying, sometimes he can be dangerous. He can control ice, snow, and frost, freeze objects instantly in lower temperatures around him. He can turn invisible, and he can take flight. In pop culture, he makes his most iconic appearance in Rise of the Guardians. He appears in Disney's Santa Claus 3, the 1979 Christmas special, A Christmas Jack Frost, a demon in Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, and more. My favorite is always gonna be Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians. Stay warm out there. You never know when Jack Frost is nipping at your nose. If you want to learn about more personifications of winter, follow for more. Everyone, meet Mari Lloyd, the Welsh winter folk spirit. Her name roughly translates to Grey Mare or Phantom Mare. Located primarily in South Wales, she appears during midwinter, especially Christmas, New Year, and Twelfth Night. And she appears as a tall humanoid figure with a horse skull for a head, wrapped around in white robes. Mari Lloyd likely comes from pre-Christian Celtic traditions, later absorbed into Christian seasonal traditions. It's debated if she originates as a death and rebirth spirit, a fertility symbol, a ghost horse, a remnant of ancient animal veneration, and is possibly linked to Aran, the god king of the Welsh otherworld Annwn. Although mysterious, she's quite fun to hang around with. She goes door to door, challenging people to a verbal game of punko, rhyming insults and riddles. If the household loses, Mari Lloyd is invited inside. Once inside, she'll drink, cause mischief, and bring prosperity. Refusing Mari Lloyd is believed to bring bad luck. She's rarely featured in mainstream media, though she still makes appearances in Welsh folklore books and documentaries. She's featured in folk horror aesthetics, dark fantasy art, and pagan revival imagery. If a smiling skull knocks on your door in winter, you better be ready for a battle of wits. If you want to learn about more unique winter folk spirits, follow for more.